All right, so what's going on, everybody? So I want to give you guys an update on China and the significance of what is going on. Now, if you haven't heard, there has been riots going across the country. It's been absolutely chaotic. So in Beijing, in all the major cities, and there's been a couple of events that basically triggered all of this, and especially with the zero COVID policy and all of just Xi Jinping and the CCP, different things that have been happening. A deadly apartment fire, basically killing maybe upwards of 30 plus, the official number much lower. But basically, these people were trapped in their apartment. There was a fire that broke out, and the fire department could not get to these guys in time. And so they were spraying water from just a far distance because all the cars, all the gating, all of the stuff that these guys that are doing to make sure that these people are staying indoors for quarantine, this basically got out of hand and allowed, with the video that's being shown, these guys weren't able to get to the fire in time, and a lot of people died and they were just trapped there. And then also there was an event where a man who was speaking the truth on the street, basically one of the quotes he was saying was, "Give me freedom or give me death." This guy was successfully, alleviated from the persecution of the police once they got there. And so there's clips of this person doing this. And then, of course, another big news is the Foxconn, which is the supplier of Apple and all of the iPhones. And so this chaos is happening there where people by the hundreds of thousands are in exodus, and they're trying to hire people, but it's slowing down. And all of this chaos is happening over there. And so there's been panic buying in a lot of things, but everything's been escalating. So Xi Jinping and his response was something that people were watching for, but with Beijing, Xinjiang, and many other cities across the country, they are in uproar right now. And so a lot of shortages are happening and everything is escalating very quickly. And this was compared to 1989, where the Tiananmen Square, the Democratic China movement, and having sort of more this long-term approach for freedom initiated by the students. All this is historical stuff that's happened. The difference between that and now is that people are fighting for their immediate survival, and they're reactive to the protests and everything that's going on. So a lot of people just, enough is enough. They're wanting all of this to end. But the sort of issue that's happened up to now, especially in China, because of the mindset that people have, is that they're so accustomed to being in fear or reacting to COVID that if you end the zero COVID policy, then it's going to cause chaos. If you don't end the zero COVID policy, it's going to cause riots. And so this is what you're seeing. So this is sort of this predicament. And that's because a lot of people are still programmed to think that this COVID thing is so bad that if we don't have, containment, if we are allowed to be set free, then it's going to just cause people to be in fear and anxiety and all these different things. And so there's a big issue going on in China. But the bigger issue is that it's showing and showcasing, and again, let's see what happens over the next couple of weeks and months, but it's showcasing the deadly effect of crowd movement, as well as all of the escalation that can happen to cause the shortages, to cause famine and supply chain issues and many things for which society, as it's known, is going to just spiral out of control. And so this is and again, a lot of this maybe is censored. A lot of this you can't just really dig up because the government says one thing, but the stats say something different. And you have to look at on-the-ground footage. You have to kind of tie it together to see what time period it's from and just many other things. So it's very difficult to get the full story. But at least because of internet and being connected socially, a lot of people are in outrage when they see certain images and things like this apartment fire getting out of control. And so all that to say, guys, is that even China, even many places, and again, of course, China is more restrictive. It's different than the US and many other countries. But if this kind of stuff can spiral out of control, and yeah, I want to be optimistic. Yeah, all of us want society to continue going on, but with a lot of the prophetic words, with a lot of people theorizing how this could go down with the recession, the economic issues, all of the outcome of the COVID and just the repercussions, all these different things, all of that combined is going to have some kind of downstream implication and effect. And we're seeing that with China. We're going to see that with many other places. And all that to say that as a body of Christ, we have to be ready. We have to be alert. We have to get the right truth and news. And then we have to be in prayer. We have to be prepared. I've talked about how we as a body of Christ need to to stock up, to be protecting our wealth. We have to be in a place for which we can steward what God has given us appropriately. And so this is a time for which there's going to be lots of outreach, a lot of people seeking answers, a lot of people wanting to know the Lord. And we as a body of Christ need to be ready and prepared for mercy ministry. We have to be ready to reach out to people, and we have to be open-minded to say that it could happen in the U.S. It could happen in many places across the civilized world. And so again, if you can't find the news, you have to dig for it, as well as any other news that I talk about on this channel. But all that to say that China, it's starting, it's happening there, and it's going to go to other countries. It's going to have an effect across other nations, and especially here in the US. So watch out for that. If production supply chains stop there, and if other goods can't come to the US, then it's going to have an impact later on in the months and even in the years to come. So be ready for this. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of chaos, but we have faith, we have hope in the Lord, and the Lord will take us through this. So love you guys, and talk to you guys very soon.